reorganization. And the first order of business is to elect a chairperson for the board. So I would like to open this up to nominations.
I nominate Jeff Morrill.
I will second that nomination.
Right.
Okay.
Jeff who? Wow.
Thank you, Jack.
We should play some games.
Are there any other nominations for chairperson?
I move the nomination be closed and the secretary cast one ballot for Jeff Morrill.
Al makes that move. Is there a second?
Second. Can I make that second?
Yep. If there's no other nominations, I will ask for a vote. All in favor of Al's motion? Say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Abstentions? Congratulations, Jeff. I'm sorry.
I hope no one expects I'm going to start wearing a bow tie. Okay, now I look for nominations for vice chair.
I, Mr. Chair, would like to place a nomination, a person that I feel is well qualified. Not only qualified in the case of city school at one time, BFA board, Franklin Central Supervisory Union Board, the Newport Road Board. Certainly experience is a wonderful thing, and in this case, it's wonderful because we can put together a team. And so I would like to place a nomination, my friend Nilda Ganella French.
Thank you, Al.
And I make the nominations that be closed and secretary cast one ballot for Nilda.
Are there any other nominations?
I
Do
do
I
have
second
a
the
motion
motion?
on the floor. Needs a second.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of Nilda as vice chair, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? There we go, Nilda.
Thank you.
And now I look for nominations for board clerk.
I'd like to nominate someone. Steve,
I would not want this.
you don't want it?
I've been the board clerk, I know.
Thank you.
I've never had that happen.
Really? I'm sorry, Nilda. I don't mean to. Nice of you to suggest.
My pleasure.
You're still a nice guy.
Any other nominations?
Susan?
Maybe we need to review what exactly the board clerk does first.
Oh, you have to come in like every week.
Okay, come on.
Meet with the superintendent for 2 hours. You take,
Poor Kevin.
During executive session, you keep track of what time you go into executive session, what time you come out, and you hand that over to the superintendent so that they can add it to the minutes. Every once in a while, you have something you have to sign. Because it
Like
requires
tonight,
the clerk.
checking signatories.
And I will tell you that for a while there, when I first started, for some reason, I was doing all the minutes in executive session, and anybody can do it as I did.
Right.
Okay.
I was horrible.
I would like to think that there is a little bit of skill involved.
The clerk has the most jobs like in the statute, but they've all kind of
All right.
fallen to the
They're
wayside.
archaic.
I can do that.
Any other nominations?
I would second it.
Okay, good.
Of course you would.
I'd like to make a motion that the nominations be closed and the secretary cast one vote.
Do you have a second?
Second that.
All those in favor of Susan as board clerk,
I said Karen. Susan.
We look so much alike.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There we go. Okay, checking account signatories. Is it the same as last year, or?
We would just like to clarify and just make sure it's on record who we would be looking for. We're looking for Brenda Comstock and Kevin Durr.
And Amanda.
She's the treasurer,
Yep.
which she is automatically a bank signer.
Okay. So do you want a motion to
Yes, please.
set those, I guess? Have a motion to set the checking account signatories as Brenda and Kevin.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. So last year, we didn't want to put you on it, Kevin. Get some questions about that. I remember. All right, other appointments and designations. If we look at the sheet from last year, everything should be the same. I don't know if there's any changes in truant officers. And then last year we we didn't set any formal committees. We said that negotiations, the 2 negotiations committees would be set as we needed. That makes sense to me, depending on who's available, who wants to do it, etc. Does anybody have any changes that they want to make to this? It also says that we'll meet on the 1st and 3rd Wednesday of the month. And Brenda, I didn't check these dates, but are these the first week in July and the second week in August and the last week in November that we're leaving out?
No, it wasn't changed.
Okay.
On the calendar.
Okay.
You could
Although I
say
don't know if
it's
they're
set
updated to this year.
I sent both, last year's calendar and then the one moving forward.
So I think we would want to change those to be but still, the first meeting in July, first meeting in August, and the last meeting in November, right, that we
I
don't
think we
have.
have 2 this year for November. But you can change that when you get to the calendar.
We get that when we get
Okay.
closer.
All right. So any changes to this?
The only thing I want to remind the board, it's not that I'm advocating for it, but I heard several board members over the year make off-the-cuff suggestions that it might be time to look at doing it once a month versus twice a month. And I just, since this is set for a year, I just want to clarify and make sure everybody's fine with the way it is.
Well, we would take a suggestion from you. I mean, we haven't had a lot of meetings where nothing was happening. There's only been maybe 2 in a year that are like 45 minutes long.
If you're asking for my suggestion, I would say that we're still at the point where we probably need 2. And yes, our meetings are a comfortable length.
Yeah.
And if you went to 1,
Yeah.
it'd be good.
Uncomfortable.
It would be uncomfortable lengths, yeah.
Any other comments on that?
I feel like at this point, we still need 2 a month.
Any other changes? So we haven't made any changes, so we're good. So I would look for a motion to adopt the appointments and designations as presented here.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, for most of us, the code of ethics are attached. And so everybody will need to sign that tonight. I just want to emphasize that at the very top of it, what I think is probably the most important point, which is that our job is to make sure that the schools are well run and not for us to run schools. So I hope everybody agrees with that.
I have the original, and I'll start it with Alicia. Please, especially our new people, take your time, read it through before you sign it, and we'll come to it.
Okay, so board meeting dates. So Brenda, you need for us to accept these dates, one set or another?
Those are the dates that, the way they fall on the calendar. And I think they're confirmed from now through July 1st, because technically it's up to you guys, this new board. It's up to you. You could change them if you want to.
Yeah, okay, so right now we have one meeting in July, one meeting in August. And yeah, there are 2 meetings in November. And I think the only reason we changed it last year was because it was right near Thanksgiving.
Get closer, right?
Yeah, it's the 20th anyway, so it should be fine. Anybody see a problem with these meeting dates? Okay, so I look for a motion to accept the FY20 board meeting dates.
So moved.
I'll second.
Second, Susan. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm going to assume a lot of times that nobody's abstaining, so if you want to, just Okay, that's it for board reorg. And now we're at visitors. I don't think there's any visitors here.
Probably the fastest reorg I've seen.
Yeah, thank you. It's going to be a lot of fastest negotiations, fastest reorg. Okay, so on the consent agenda, we have minutes from last meeting, media packets, notification of field trips, staff changes, which is 1 resignation, and the financial statement. Does anybody have a reason why they want to remove any of these from the consent agenda for discussion? Okay. I don't see any objections. It will be adopted. No objections. The consent agenda is adopted. All right. ESP contract. Kathy. Ready for us to sign?
It is ready for you to sign. The association ratified the contract and now it's
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about it?
I think I put in your packet an overview.
The summary sheet at the beginning was pretty straightforward. There were some very small language changes, and the main change was the wages, which was adding 30 cents to the base plus a step for most job categories, and 55 cents to the base for specialists. Or not the base, excuse me, the individual rates. Yeah.
Correct.
Any questions?
And 3.66% money.
Yeah, that's what came out to be. No change to healthcare. Okay, if there's no more questions, I'd look for a motion to authorize the board chair to sign ESP contract.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. New business. Yesterday's vote results.
So I have I guess one would call it official results, which I will go through with you. Article 1, voting on district clerk, Amanda Forbes received 1,610 votes. I should mention that the total registered voters are 11,206 in the Maple Run School District. Those who voted would be 1,837. It's about 16%. Article 2, District Treasurer, also went to Amanda Forbes with 1,593 votes. Article 3, District Director, Fairfield, Joanna DeRose received 869 votes. Michael Malone received 619. District Director, St. Albans Town, Nina Hunsinger received 1,518 votes. District Director, St. Albans Town, Sally, received the largest of any of the director votes, 1,554.
The oldest.
St. Albans City District Director, Alicia Sawyer, 1,516 votes. Article 4, which was the article to borrow money to run the district. Yes, 1,421. No, 382. Article 5, to transfer the general fund balance to capital reserve. Yes, 1,500. No, 298. Article 6, which was the budget. Yes, 1,079. No, 719. And Article 7, which was the BFA bond. Yes, 1,052. No, 745.
Pretty good support, I would say. So thank you very much for all your support. It's very good news about the BFA bond.
I would like to reiterate what I said in my email last night, is that the budget and the bond, those of us who've been on the board and those around the table know how much time went into that. And I just want to thank everybody, because it's a huge process, huge. And the bond added to it this year. Chris, with what he did with the communications on that, and Dino Pastoris, who wasn't here, but who also worked with that, it was very helpful. So thank you and congratulations to everybody.
And still, this year I'd like to work on how we can do those communications better, because we ran into people who said, I didn't hear about it until yesterday or something. So we have to keep on working on that. Alicia and Joanna, do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure.
Tell us something.
Sure. So my name is Alicia Sawyer. I have 3 sons who are in the district. My oldest son, Liam, who apparently Jake Morrill was a reading buddy to in kindergarten. New, small city. He's 14 and he's at BFA. And then I have a 6th grader at City, and I have a 3rd grader at City School. My husband works for the City of St. Albans, Chip Sawyer. We've been here longer than it seems. I think 17 years we've been here in St. Albans. I'm looking forward to serving the community.
Welcome.
And my name is Joanna Jarose, and I live in Fairfield. And my husband and I have lived here for 19 years, I think now. I have a daughter, Maya, as a sophomore at BFA, and a daughter, Lucy, who is a 5th grader at Fairfield School. And I'm excited to be here. I'm the student assistance counselor over at Sheldon Elementary School. And just happy to be here. Thank you.
Probably a lot of people at Sheldon are wondering what's going to happen right now.
Oh, yeah. Sheldon, there's a little unrest there today. So.
Okay, well, welcome. We have an early retirement request. What are you looking for there, Ken?
So we do have an early retirement request. I will remind the board and mention to the new board members our contract. And Kathy, please help me out if I'm wrong with details. I'm sure you will. We have in our contract the opportunity for early retirement buyout. Now, the contract says that information needs to be in place by November 1st? October 1st. And it calls for people who have 20 years or more of experience within the district. And we can take up to 8 this year. Obviously, this request came after the due date, and also came after, it does not have 20 years, she has 14. The board has complete discretion whether you accept the request or not. In the past, you've asked your administration to look at what this would do financially, and in some cases you've given a fraction of the retirement depending how many years they have in. So from a purely monetary point of view, there would be a significant savings. If you were to do what you've did with other people, you take the 14/20th of $12,000, and that's $8,400. The person who we're talking about is top step, and there'd probably be, I think, Martha, somewhere around 20,000 savings, did you say?
Possibly, yes.
Possibly, depending on.
To backfill?
I'm sorry?
To backfill that position?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the board's decision if you want to do that or not.
We have done this before, correct?
Yes,
At a fraction of, as you just laid out, 14th of 20.
yes.
I remember when we first did this at City School that there was basically two reasons why we do it. One is you save some money, and the other one is it's kind of a thank you for your service. What you make of that, I don't know.
So I'll make a motion, put it on the table.
Good idea.
A motion to accept the retirement.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Al. Any discussion?
Just to clarify that motion, it's what we recommended.
Correct. The recommended.
But this isn't accepting it, because I thought it's just for informational, they want information, correct? It's not actually,
She has not actually put a retirement bid in, but
so this is
it's
just.
a little bit more than I just want data on it.
Yeah,
She wants to know whether.
so are we making?
If she were to retire, would we offer her anything?
Okay, so are we giving her decision now then, is that? Because it,
What you would be,
it's-
what you would be saying is if you were to retire, we would or we would not accept
Okay.
at this amount of money.
And would we, if we said yes, are we looking for a a decision date by, like, you just need to let us know by the end of the week or by the end of 2 weeks?
I think that's a valid thing you can do.
And what are the contract dates? When do teachers have to give their contracts? When are they signed this year?
April 15th,
April 15th.
that's when we issue
Right.
contracts by April 15th.
And then they need to return their answer by
Within 10 days.
10 days. Thank you.
So in that case, we wouldn't necessarily need an answer before those dates, because we're not.
Yeah, it's true, it's already late. I don't think you would have any, I think you would have full justification to ask for something
Yeah,
quickly.
especially since they have to post the position, right?
Right.
Because we have to post, we have to do all that.
Right. We still might have vacancies if other teachers decide not to sign their contract. I guess that was more my point.
I would say this is prime hiring season.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have any vacancies, you want to post them as soon as possible.
Mhm.
as well.
This is not without precedent. We have done this.
At a prorated amount.
So do you want me to amend my motion to put a date, like March 20th, or
Sure.
what's a logical date on the calendar?
I would say 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks?
2 weeks from notice, it would be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you didn't ask, but it would be the administration's recommendation unless you have some issues with it, we're fine with it.
You sort of intimated that.
Yeah.
Al, do you want to second the amendment?
And the amendment again,
To say that they need to reply within 2 weeks from today.
oh yeah, no, absolutely.
All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so now back to the original. Are we set? Do we have any more discussion, or
I'm good with it.
Nina? Good?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. So all those in favor of granting the early retirement request at a prorated amount, with a reply needed in the next 2 weeks, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. Dr. Turris, Collins Pearly.
So you may recall, and Dave, you'll help me out with this one. You may recall that when we went on to our new health policy, when the state changed things, there was a request by 3 people in Collins Pearlie to come over to us to be employees of Maple Run versus employees of Collins Pearlie. And it was mainly done for the purpose of obtaining insurance. You also know that Dave is retiring now. The Collins Pearlie board has made the request that these 3 individuals, and it's the manager, the assistant manager, and the manager of the health facility, go back to becoming, for the sake of salaries and insurance, go back to being employees of Collins Pearlie. It's financially neutral, so it's not an issue there. They're making that request. They feel that they'd like to go back to the original. But our board has to make that decision and say yea or nay.
Do you have anything to add, Al, from the Collins Pearlie side?
I was on that board.
I don't mind saying this. A year ago, before they said yes, I said say no. I think this is a better process. The fact that they're operating Collins Pearlie as a whole, sending it back to the Collins Pearlie board for the management of it. It didn't make any sense in reality of having everything outside of us when we didn't have to say what was going on because it was under contract to Maple Run board. This way, they're under contract to not only the Maple Run board but Collins Pearlie. Because whatever we do when there is a replacement for it, they'll be primarily doing just Collins Pearlie work, which is where it should be. So I think this is a good move.
I know, we haven't seen this a lot. I don't know if people want to deal with this tonight or if they want to wait till the next meeting 2 weeks from now.
To make a decision?
Yeah, to make a decision on this, or if we could either way.
There's no timing on that.
Maybe just to give the new board members some time to
Okay.
maybe ask questions.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I believe there are other ways for them to receive benefits without them being employees of the district. Right? I mean, there are other companies out there or organizations out there that share fiscal agents and can receive benefits without it being that they're working for the same organization.
That's true. In Dave's case, he wanted to do it because he wanted our insurance we have available. But yes.
Is there another way
back,
for them to receive that service, right? That benefit, not
not our insurance.
No,
not the health, not even if we were their fiscal agent and
no,
there's no other way.
no, because we're not their fiscal agent. They have their own, it's Collins Pearlie Board Corporation manages that facility. They are the fiscal agent.
I'm assuming they'll have benefits through the Collins Pearlie Complex Corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have to go independent,
So you
leave
don't have to worry about
that out.
I don't think so.
What's the advantage of them to do that? It's just a personal thing?
There was a fairly short window when the Collins Pearly Board found out that the Collins Pearly employees would not be able to continue to be insured through the school as they always had been. And that change came because of the way the corporation changed for, Maple Run and so on.
Well, that's right.
So there wasn't a lot of time for the Collins Pearly Board to seek out a coverage. I won't comment on the rest of it, but I think it was mainly a timing issue. And the change slightly changed the way the hiring and evaluation process works, giving a little bit more authority to Maple Run, a little less authority to Collins Pearly. So basically, what they're asking is that things be returned to the way basically the hiring and all the rest has happened since the Collins Pearly Board was established in 1996.
Which I believe they would do the hiring and then we would have the right to some oversight there.
That doesn't change that.
No. But I absolutely expect the new Collins Pearly Board will find a benefits package for the new employees. They have not done that as of yet. They may be waiting until they hire a new manager to get an idea as to what the needs are. I don't know what their thought process is.
Are there any known problems or any known reasons why not to do it?
I think so.
It's the way it's always been, except for the last couple of years.
Just last couple of years. So there was no benefit to BFA in having that relationship.
Well, that relationship will continue.
Right.
It's just a financial aspect.
Okay.
And the financial part is a complete wash.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know if anything else came with it other than just the benefits is what I'm asking.
okay, so I think we'll wait till next time, just to make that final. Other business, warrants are attached for a motion to approve the warrants.
Second.
Thank you. So the warrants are all the checks that are paid by the central office. We review them and approve them. We'll sign, we'll hand around a packet. We all have to sign.
I don't know if we have the new board members on there. So if we have the old board members, just cross out their name and put your name.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thanks, Mark. That's quite all right.
Very good.
One day turnaround, so we'll forgive you.
All those in favor of approving the warrant, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed 9-0. Superintendent's report.
Just a few things. First off, the board knows this already, but I just want to reiterate with new people. This year we have artwork from our schools up. This specific one you have up is from town. And
Obviously.
I just think it's great that they're doing this here. We have the art teacher from Fairfield takes it upon himself to organize an art teacher every month, and he collects the work, he frames the work, brings it up, and puts it up, and it's just a real nice thing. We also have some of the work in the lobby, and certainly adds some color in the room, and shows student work, which I think is great. The only other thing I have to say today is something that happened to me earlier. This came up with the board chair thing. Somebody come up to me, very sad that we were losing Jim Fowler, as we all are. And then that person said, "But you know what's really nice is you have a board with Maple Run who have several people who can just step up to the plate and hit the ground running. And you don't always see that on a board." And I would just like to say I agree with him on that, and it's really nice to have a board that people can just come in. Sometimes you lose a chair and you have a huge void. And I think you had several people who could have stepped at the plate and done a very nice job. So, and thank you, Jeff.
Just wait.
Could I make a comment? I wanted to say, along with in praising the board, to be honest with you, when I was on the BFA board, it was just a board that agreed to disagree, but we functioned very well as a group. And I believe this board, I've noticed this board functions the same way. And it's just a pleasure to be on it. I think I told Joanna that she'd have fun, and maybe she thought that was a funny comment. But I mean, when you're synchronized and you're getting things done, it is fun. So
I just think at the beginning of this meeting, we were joking too much and we should be more serious.
I can arrange that.
Second from Al. So that's it for me.
Good. 3 minutes. That was good. Mark that down.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have
Remember that when I go 10
We could open each meeting with the song "Be a Clown."
What do you think about that? Okay, do you have a board administrator?
Yes, as central office people talk, I will pass them out.
Okay.
And again, for the new people, we have it doesn't come out typically every month, but we have a newsletter that comes to us called the Board Administrator, and it's just an informational thing that talks about how to be a superintendent and how to be a board member, and often there's some really neat things too.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, and it's a cardinal rule that it has to come out in paper. We can't get it electronically. It's like,
Right.
It's part of the copyright, I'm sorry.
All right, administrator reports. Joanne.
You need to go first. Welcome, new board members. Great to have you on board. I don't have a lot to talk about because we just came off from the winter break. I do want to call your attention to my t-shirt, which is Spread the Word to End the Word, about students with disabilities. I sent I don't know if you're on the MRUSD all emails yet, but I sent a video clip out from YouTube about this very thing today, so something to look forward to. The other thing that folks are aware of, but you may not be, is that I'm going to be retiring or reinventing myself in June of this year. So we've begun the transition conversations with Andrea Rasick, who will be taking my place. We have a meeting tomorrow to start an orientation for her. And then from there, we'll attend other dates for her and I to travel around to the different schools and begin to meet people and begin that transition for her. So that's it for me.
Thank you. Michelle.
Hi, welcome, and I know both of you in my prior role and capacities. So, coming off break, I've been busy working on some of the paperwork compliance-y stuff that we have to do. That when you're running around to meetings with families, it's hard to sit and get it done. So we have audits and time studies and all kinds of financial things happening. I'm trying to capture Joanne's historical knowledge before she leaves and start leaving a track record for Andrea so that when she comes in there'll be some things in place for her. And prior to vacation, and since we've come back, we're right back at it with the meetings and running around working with staff and families. So that's the fun part of the job.
And I would say, given what they both mentioned, I may have mentioned this before, but Andrea, as you know, came from Franklin Northwest, and Julie has been wonderful and flexible with the fact that Andrea's coming down here and allowing her the time to come down here and to be part of us ahead of time or with us again, and to be part of interview committees and things like that. So
Because we have all the dirt on her. So.
I was going to say that.
That's good. Thank you. Melanie?
Welcome. I hope to look forward to working with you both as well as, of course, everybody. I spent today in Waterbury working with the Agency of Human Services. We're still working on kind of streamlining some of the child care regs so that they work better with public schools and so that we're not duplicating, a lot of the same parts and pieces. So we're continuing to add to that conversation, which is great. We're getting ready to plan for kindergarten transitions. For our students' extended school year. We even have pre-K screenings coming up. We have our next one is scheduled for March 29th at Northwest Tech from 9 to 12. And then we have a separate one for Fairfield April 12th, also from 9 to 12, so that we're kind of able to meet in our different communities that way, which is wonderful. And of course, with our budget and town meeting passing in pieces, we're looking forward to planning for next year and all of our new preschoolers joining us.
Thank you. I saw in Burlington past, they're going to have 20 scholarships available for preschool so that kids can be ready for kindergarten and get off to a good start.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's really going to be more.
I think everybody's understanding the benefits of preschool. A lot of our research is now showing a minimum of an 8th grade, benefit through 8th grade. You can see a difference in the children all the way through high school graduation.
Mona.
Welcome. And just before the break, we spent the entire day working on our ELA priority standards with the ELA committee, the English Language Arts Committee. And we finished our first draft with the student-friendly learning targets that we're going to be using across our district. The schools just got back and they're getting ready to take the state assessment starting next week, and it extends to May 31st. I think science is somewhere mid-April. That's when they begin. We're beginning to also focus our CIA meetings, the curriculum instruction and assessment meetings, to plan for next year. We're looking at how we can better align our Fed grants to our continuous improvement plan, and we're developing a 5-year teaching and learning plan, and looking at, what are we doing now, what can we do better, and to constantly be improving. And that's basically what we're doing from now until the end of the year.
I think it was Sean that came up with the CIA name just because he thought it was cool. Is that right?
And it still is.
I'm just saying. Thank you. Martha.
So I'm not going to say welcome. I've heard it 5 times already.
Assume you're welcome.
We all assume welcome. Just so that everybody understands, the central office is not closed during school vacation, so we were here working. In the business office area, we are basically, in the last month, worked on finalizing the budget presentation, which seemed to work out okay. We've been working through a Vermont Agency of Education Special Ed audit, desk audit. We've been working on that. Working on our e-finance software conversion, which it appears that we will be able to push the go live date from July 1st to January 1st, which gives us a little bit more breathing room to be able to implement that software program. We're right now in the midst of sending out our second semester regular ed and special ed tuition billing, besides paying the bills and paying our employees. That's about what we do in the business office. Busy.
Thank you. So the e-finance stuff is the new accounting software?
New accounting software that is mandated that all school districts convert onto that software program.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
What's the reason for the extension? I know what it is, but I didn't ask.
They realized they couldn't get everybody in the state all in one fell swoop into the software program.
Are you getting
so they
the
are
help you
they
need?
are breaking it out.
Are you getting the help you need to implement, or is it?
kind of learn and implement as you go.
It's learn and implement as you go. The implementation process so far has all been based on webinars and video recordings, which are the worst way of trying to familiarize yourself with a new software program and what needs to be done. But hopefully with them spreading out the implementation for districts, we do have, I would say probably a half dozen to a dozen that will go live July 1st. So they will be our
Test case.
test cases. So it will help us for them to go live July 1st so that we can learn from issues that they find when we go, so we can go live January.
Does that mean they extended the support too?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that was the issue, that if we didn't go live July 1st, we wouldn't get the unlimited support, which their unlimited support is not that.
Rather limited.
But we'll take what we can get.
Okay. Kathy?
Yes, it probably hasn't been lost on a lot of people in the room that we now have 6 women on the board and 4 men. Just
I totally noticed
Just saying.
My wife pointed that out to me.
So I'm very excited to see you join the board.
Well, that's a better ratio than the central office.
That's true. In HR, we were also pretty busy last week. We are in the middle of hiring season and getting ready for hiring season. We still have openings in our district that we have not been able to fill, especially para-educators, and we still have 1 custodial position part-time. Part-time are much more difficult to fill than full-time positions. So we are going to try a new way to recruit, which involves doing an online job fair with Education Week. So this will give us some exposure not only in the state of Vermont, but elsewhere in the Northeast and throughout the U.S. We are getting applications from out of state for a number of our positions, especially professional and our administrative positions, so we think it might be a good way to go. We'll see. It will be our first time trying that. I'm also doing a fair amount of work on policies and procedures right now, hopefully bringing a proposal for a wellness policy to the board probably in April. And also, this is the time of year when we are updating our guidelines for non-union folks. We now have our contract for our educational support professionals and our teachers for next year. I'll be bringing to the board the next meeting our non-union guidelines and wage proposal. The following meeting, I will bring co-curricular and extracurricular wage scales to the board. And some of the things we also work on that are on the board but are still important to us. This is the time of year when we research what every other district in the state is doing, how they're paying substitutes. Are we competitive? Those kinds of things. So we will be looking at upgrading those rates to make sure we're still competitive, and our casual employee rates across the district, making sure we pay for the same work at the same rate across the district. We're no longer individual silos. We are one district, so our practices must be equitable. And I think that's a lot of the time is, of course, on contract interpretation and clarification, so that work continues during this time of the year.
I thought the city school custodians that went to that conference or that little seminar thing last year really appreciated that. I don't know how many people get that kind of experience, but maybe we could do more of that.
Yes, and we've opened that up to all the custodians in the district. Also, we are starting to have more interaction among the facility managers. We're looking at the job descriptions for custodians. We have custodian 1, custodian 2, and maintenance. And we just recently had a meeting where we were looking at the qualifications for those different positions to make sure we are calling a custodian 1 at city the same as a custodian 1 at town. So it's that kind of looking at things district-wide. Interesting, and a lot of interesting conversations with folks.
Good, thank you.
Kathy, do you do Skype interviews or screens or anything?
If we have people from out of state, we often have the first interview by Skype or by phone before we have a committee looking at people.
Thanks. Last but not least, Dave.
Thank you. I did actually want to take advantage of you all being here to mention a couple of very significant community events. The school events have been well publicized. But this weekend is the Model Railroad Show here in Railroad City on Saturday. And the following weekend is the Rolling Hill Recreation Expo, which is probably our biggest annual event.
How was the complex last night with 2 hockey games and voting?
Pretty busy place. Yeah, it's great to see it like that.
It's good.
Thank you.
I missed anybody? All right, agenda items for future meetings.
I'll be doing a update on some personal issues.
Yep. And we have the Collins Pearlie addendum. And then
Non-union
Kathy
guidelines.
has wage scales. And,
Yeah, non-union guidelines and wage scale.
okay. Anything else? No. And I don't think we have executive session. So, seeing as we're at the end of our agenda, we are adjourned. Thank you.